Evening.
Morning.
Morning.
That was a quick day. Hello.
I'm just putting some silly images in for now, just for giggles. Does anybody particularly want to start, or will I start?
Jump right on in.
Fire away.
Okie dokie. Well, we're doing haunted pubs today, as some of you who were here last week will already know. And being in the UK, there are literally hundreds to choose from. But me being me, I've stuck with some local ones. Now, I've already mentioned before the Thunderton House, which is nearby me. And we already did the story about the Highlander. We already did the story about the Victorian lady. But there are allegedly 4 or 5 spooks upstairs in the non-public area of said building as well. But because none of us can actually, well, I suppose you could if you ask the owner, they might let you up, but it's still kind of under construction. But I was allowed in while it was still under the remodeling construction for the ground floor. And having a wander around the building while it's all been, the interior had been stripped back to the bare stone walls, was actually quite amazing. Now, I'm going to put up a couple that show you the building we're talking about. So, the Thunderton House is really quite amazing building-wise. When the local castle in town was destroyed by the locals because the English army were in there, we ended up, the locals, with help from a nobleman who's kind of like, you know, like the stories of the Black Prince where he would go and enter tournaments and stuff. This local nobleman was kind of similar. Now, one of the oddities about this building, Braveheart the movie, I know every Scot that's watching has just rolled their eyes, but the one thing they got right in Braveheart, when the guy goes into the house on horseback in somebody's castle and drops a mace on his head while he's sleeping, that's John Comyn. He's for Huntly. Now, John Comyn at the time was desperate to sook in about any king he could get with. So he signed paperwork with Longshanks, Edward I, to hand over Murrayshire, part of Aberdeenshire, and Highland. So basically, Athen fae Peterhead across to Inverness was signed over to England. And we were paying rent to the English king for 12 years. Now, this local noble came in and noised up some of the local lads in a pub, not the Thunderton at the time, because at the time it was still the Royal Hunting Lodge. And we burned down the castle because the English garrison were in there. But what we didn't know was Edward I. Yeah. Edward I had left at 3:00 that afternoon. We were really hoping he was still in there, but we missed the timing. But there's no many places in Scotland where you'll hear 14 boys snuck up the hill at the back of the castle for the river, slit every English throat they could find, and then set the place on fire. Now, when the locals seen the castle was on fire, they all knew it was the English army that was in there, so everybody took up weapons, whether it was your kitchen knife or your pitchfork for the ferrum. Everybody went up the hill and helped destroy the castle and destroy anybody they could find, basically. So when that happened, we don't have a proper residence for visiting royals to stay at. So Thunderton House was extended to a bit more like this picture that's showing as it is now. Now, as I say, we've already talked about the Highlander and the Victorian lady. Down in the cellars, there is a something. We're not right sure what it is, but you hear footsteps and you see stuff being shunted right. Like the beer barrels have just arrived and you've stuck them in the corner because you don't need to plug any of them in yet into the system. And you go down 2 hours later knowing nobody else is on duty, so nobody else has access to the cellar, and one of the barrels is on the other side of the room. Random wee things like that. Going through the upstairs levels and the private levels, when it was all stripped back to bare stonework, the owner says to me, he says, we found a boot. And he showed me the boot they'd found. The boot they'd found, looking at the construction of it, it's about 1500s, tackety boots with the nails in the bottom for your tread, workman's boots that had been bricked up in the wall. Now, up the stairs as we're going round, I'm hearing this wee lady. It's a very, these dainty little feminine voices, where they're definitely nothing like I am. I could hear this dainty little feminine giggle in certain rooms and so on and so forth. And I'm wandering around. And because they were still clearing out some sections of the building, there's a box of someone's personal belongings sitting there. And on top of them is a marriage certificate from 1924. And a photo of this lady and her husband. And as I'm looking at the photo, the wee giggle comes from behind me in the corner of the room, followed by, "That's me. That was a good day." So the lady who had lived in there got married in 1924. She was there with her hubby until about 1935, 1936, I think. And their photo was still there. A lot of their personal belongings were still there. There was even a ration book still there. And I haven't had a chance to catch up to the owner to see what else he's done. But because people have lived in that building for like 400 years, I mean, the current construction does look much more 1700s, but there was an earlier, smaller version in the 1400s. So people have lived on that site from the 1400s. So there is quite a lot of residents still knocking about. One of the most famous ones is when they did the rearrangement inside, they've done away with one of the ladies' bathrooms. So there's only the one for you to use now. And that's the one that nobody used to like using, because when the young ains are out on a night out and they spend 25 minutes in the mirror every time they go to the bathroom to check their makeup, their hair, and yada, 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 they report somebody else talking to them over their shoulder. But then when they turn around to leave, there's nobody there. So she's the most famous one. She's an older lady, and all you can see is head and shoulders, but the collar of her shirt is like up to here. Now that could be anything from 1600s onwards. It could be one of the noble ladies who lived in the house, or it could be one of the normal people back when it was a hotel in the late 1800s or whatever. We don't know who these people are, but there's quite a few people knocking about that building. And if you're sensitive and can see things that other people can't, you'll either love the place or hate the place. Me personally, I love it because all the decor that's been done since they redid the building, they've stuck to the 1700s time period, even though it's not traditional. It has traditional appearance, and that's the bit that counts as far as the owner was concerned. I'll move on to one of you guys now.
Okay. I'll go. If Ian, you want to go or?
I'll let you go. I'm just doing a bit
All
more
right.
research.
Let me put up some pictures here while I'm chatting. This picture right behind me, it'll be up here in just a second, but that is the Jean Lafitte's blacksmith bar in New Orleans, Louisiana. And it's in the French Quarter. and it is absolutely cool. I love the place. You can feel stuff in it when you walk in. It's on every ghost tour. Um, a lot of the ghost tours will walk around and they'll take you to all the haunted spots, but since there's so many of them, they have different routes that they take. They all hit the oh god, I can't remember the name. There's a mansion, the Lalaurie Mansion. All of them hit the Lalaurie Mansion there in town because that's really famous. That took place in one of the American history scary shows that they had on for a while. It was on there talking about the slaves that she had hidden up in the thingamajig above the kitchen and all that. And they were doing medical experiments on them breaking arms and seeing how everybody grew back and things like that. It was pretty creepy, but everybody goes to that one. But Lafitte's place is one of them that everybody stopped by to grab a quick beer or drink, use the restrooms because the tours were probably 2 hours long usually, so you had to have a spot to drink and relieve yourself on the way. But I put up a few pictures there, Carl, if you're available to pop them up. But Lafitte's Bar, Jean Lafitte's Blacksmith Bar, is located at 941 Bourbon Street in New Orleans. It's one of the city's most iconic and persistently haunted spots. It was built around 1772, with some people claiming that parts of the building were there in 1720s. It's the oldest continuously operating bar supposedly in America. Its pirate history is tied directly to Jean Lafitte and his brother Pierre, the infamous privateer, pirate, smuggler, who used the building as a front for fencing stolen goods and planning operations, though historical records are unclear on whether he actually owned it or not. The dim candlelit interior, exposed brick, there's no electric lights in the place by design. It creates kind of a strange atmosphere, and it's perfect for the New Orleans ghost tours. But you walk into the place, and it's got an interesting atmosphere. You can tell by some of the pictures there. I know it's a terribly good one, but it's neat. There's a kind of a courtyard out back that you can go back to, and a little fountain back there, and that's always got an eerie feeling. But I've been on a lot of the ghost tours in New Orleans, so I've seen a lot of the stuff there. Most commonly reported spirit is that of Jean Lafitte himself. Patrons, staff, and visitors frequently report seeing a full-body apparition of a tall, mustachioed man in period attire, often wearing a hat that resembles a pirate or early 19th century sailor. He typically lurks in shadowy corners, especially near the main room's large fireplace or along creaky floorboards. He stands silently, staring intently at people as if observing the room or guarding something. He never speaks or interacts verbally. When noticed or approached, he vanishes into the shadows or fades away. And sightings are widespread and consistent over decades, with dozens of similar reports from unrelated people. Lafitte was known as a womanizer in life, and a few tales claim that his spirit lingers playfully in the women's restroom. Women are reported feeling a cheeky pinch or an unseen presence while there. There's supposedly a mysterious woman upstairs in the building. A prominent ghost is of an unknown female, believed to have taken her own life upstairs. The building has upper floors historically used as living quarters. She's described as a sorrowful or distressed apparition, sometimes linked to tragic events in the building's long history. The reports include cold spots, feelings of sadness, or a fleeting glimpse of a woman in distress. And then, of course, here goes the demonic thing. One of the creepiest and most consistent phenomena involves glowing red eyes staring out from the unlit fireplace grate or dark corners of the first floor. These disembodied eyes are often described as piercing or menacing. They appear when somebody peers into the fireplace, drawn by legends of buried pirate treasure hidden in the bricks. They lock eyes with the viewer before slowly fading or vanishing. And some interpret this is a guardian spirit possibly tied to Lafitte's rumored buried booty, while others call it more sinister or demonic. especially given the intensity or lack of full form. There's nothing demonic in that bar. I've been there lots of times, and nope. This element adds a darker, potentially non-human layer to the hauntings. Other paranormal stuff going on in there: cold spots, sudden temperature drops, even when it's warm in the crowded bar. Unexplained noises, footsteps, empty floors or creaking boards, objects moving slightly or feelings of being watched. In general, heavy energy from the pirate crew spirits lingering from the smuggling days. So it's kind of an interesting place. The skeptics, of course, talk about the bar's age, the pirate lore, alcohol-fueled imaginations, and trying to come up with reasons why it's not haunted. But of course, if you've been there, you could tell on your own that there's stuff going on in the place for sure. Ian or Carl, your turn. But it's really a great place. It's there in New Orleans, which is so much fun anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just download a couple. Mine is one that's very dear to my heart. I still drink there to this day. It's the Old Man and Scythe in Bolton.
Do you want me to cue that up?
Yep. Very much an old pub. It's been there, well, it's got mentions going back as far as 1250 that there's known to be a pub there. It's more often associated with the Earl of Derby and the massacre in 1644. It's a peculiar atmosphere. It is very much an old-fashioned, the old oak beams and everything in there. Lovely place. Been in there, as I say, I was in there the other week, getting nicely spirited. It's the main ghost who haunts it. Like I say, is the Earl of Derby. He was very much associated, like I say, with the massacre that went on in Bolton.
It won't let me put that screen up while the photo's up. Sorry, love.
Right, no worries. It's tight, like I said, the Bolton massacre of 1644 during the Civil War, which was led by James Stanley, Earl of Derby. It's James Stanley himself was caught within the confines of Bolton. He was brought into the town and he was prosecuted, found guilty. He stayed his last night at the Old Man and Scythe and was taken outside in the morning and beheaded. His headless figure staggers near the bar. Faint thuds have been heard of the blade trailing across the floor. There's an old seat that was allegedly his. It's definitely one. It used to be hung up in the corner of the bar above the seats.
Yeah.
And like I say, I've been in there quite a few times. Really, really nice pub. Nice ale if anyone ever decides to go and visit it. But while we were in there, we were sat, there's 4 or 5 of us sat round having a drink in the middle of the afternoon, and there was a guy sat opposite us having a chat. And he was having a very animated chat with the chair. And it wasn't the case of he was just ranting. He was actually having a full-blown conversation. he was stopping, he was waiting with gaps in a conversation for someone else to answer him. And basically having a good old natter with whoever was sat there. And he got up, put his hand up, said, I'm just, to whoever he was talking to, we're sat there watching him thinking, how much is he drunk? But he wasn't ratted.
Yeah.
He was fully compass mentis. Yeah, he'd had a couple of drinks, but he certainly wasn't falling down drunk. And he came back and carried on with his conversation.
Now, I'm going to put this video on if you can put it back up, Carl.
If it comes up, this is believed to be the ghost of James Stanley.
Is there any sound on it, or do you want to narrate?
I'll narrate. You can see that's the falter.
And
you can see in the middle of it the figure appears to be cloaked. I don't know whether you can get the video clip up.
I've got it playing.
Carl's put the photo up of it, so.
Oh, okay. I'll pause it and put it back to the beginning then.
Yeah, if you can knock that out, Carl, and then. I don't know how to get it to actually play.
I don't know. I'm just wondering if I stop sharing and then start sharing again. Right, let's try again. Right, is that coming?
Nope.
I've just done it exactly as I did it before.
Strange. Here it comes.
Aha!
Here we go.
Right.
This, well, it actually tells you. "14th of Feb 2014. This was recorded, as it says, 600 hours, 6:18 in the morning. And you can see the lights that are flashing are not the ghost, but that you can see that suddenly appeared there is believed to be the ghost of James Stanley. No. He's definitely there. I've had cause to. You can definitely feel when he's present in the place.
It's not letting me get rid of this. Give me a skip button.
I don't know what.
I want a skip button.
Ghost in the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are several ghosts present in the actual pub. James Stanley being the most famous, obviously. He is very much a case of he didn't agree with what went on, as you can obviously imagine. Having his head cut off tends to darken your day for you. And he is known to throw things around the bar. He's not a very pleasant ghost. And like I said, the guy who we saw having a chat with him was definitely having a powerful discussion with him, shall we say.
Right, let me cue this up again, and I'll put it up to the bit where the image appears.
Whether my voice hold out or not, I have no idea with this coughing, but the kids are being good for a minute, so I'm going to jump in because I'm missing out on all the fun. It's not fair you get all the fun. So, you feeling any better, Ian?
Yeah, I'm a lot better than I was. A lot better than I was.
Not very nice for a couple of days, is it?
No, I've had better weeks.
It's just
No,
you
it's just
from
work.
up north that's having all this trouble. Me down here in the south, feeling fine, thanks.
No, there's a lot of it going round over here, Joe, unfortunately.
Hell of a lot. Yeah. Right, so I'll pop that back on again.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'll close it when the thing comes up.
Because I did notice there's actually a flash behind, looks like one of the doors.
The
on the
flash
right
is nothing to do with it. That was outside. That was a police going past, believe it or not.
Right, okay.
So it's the blues that you can see. You see the flash.
Yeah.
You saw the car go past then, and then all of a sudden you see this.
Well, that's definitely
He's
interesting.
difficult to cue. He's difficult to cue.
It is.
He's a ghost.
It was literally a couple of seconds, if that. I have got the still of that.
That's definitely interesting.
That's about as good as I can get it on a pause.
That's the main photo that everyone sees.
Mm-hmm.
There's an interesting thing to this story as well. It was the ghost has allegedly been stolen by a Chinese guy.
Okay.
He got so interested in the story that he came over from Shanghai to Bolton to catch the ghost. He claims to have sealed it in a metal canister.
What?
And put it in the Centre for Chinese Contemporary Art in Manchester. All this was unknown to the actual pub's landlord. So there's a couple more photos.
You can see him coming in from the right there.
Yes.
You can. Yeah.
Let's put it back. Yeah, you can totally see him coming in from the right. There.
Good. Yeah.
And it almost looks
like
he puts... Hang on, let's get him coming in. There he is. And it almost looks like he, like they would take their hat off and put it on the side. That's what it looks like this is to me. He's put his hat on top of that square thing, whatever that square thing is. That's what it looks like to me.
Just a fridge.
Yeah, because it's for food and that, so...
If we have him come walking in again, so walks in, takes his hat off. It's just so quick. He does
reach across there, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's put his hat on top of the fridge.
It's definitely a strange one. Then you see the dark shadow, and then...
He totally puts his hat on top of the fridge.
I've never looked at it as being putting a hat there, but I can see what you mean.
Yeah. So there's him just peeking in. Yeah. He's totally putting his hat on top of the fridge, I think. Or he's reaching for something
he's not
on
a
top
very
of
pleasant ghost. He does tend to throw things around and smash glasses. Makes a bit of a nuisance of himself.
Yeah.
If you could put the other photos up.
Cal.
Yeah.
I'll close this out.
And this is the still of it.
This is the still of it.
There we go.
Yeah. You can almost see whatever he's got underneath his jacket is paler than the colour of the jacket because you can see a paler bit down the middle.
Yeah.
That, I think, is something outside.
I thought that at first, but with the amount of times I've rewound and redone, I don't think it is.
You've not done anything I haven't done.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Looking at it, yeah, it's definitely a strange.
Almost looks like he's got one of them dandy wigs on.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if it's the light. It looks like a dandy wig.
If I can find a photo of him. 7th Earl of Derby. Let me see if I can get a actual photo of him. And you'll see when you actually see it, if I can ever get it up.
Oh, yeah, going by the portrait, that's definitely his hairdo.
Yeah.
The old Cavalier hairdo.
He's a bit of a nasty boy. Like I say, he was involved with the Bolton massacre in 1644. He got his comeuppance and he got had a shave.
Oh yeah.
You can see the hair on the.
That would fit with that silhouette.
Yes. Definitely.
And he ended up with short back and sides.
He a little bit off the top.
Yeah. That. Let's have a. Oh Christ! Yeah, you can see the.
Yeah.
The hair. Yeah. Wow. That is impressive.
If you put the other couple of photos up.
Yeah, we got.
This is
one.
You can see this is in the Chinese gallery of contemporary art.
They've enlarged the photo of it.
They've enlarged the photo, but he claims that canister, you can see if you put the other one up, that canister is where he claims the ghost is. He captured the ghost.
Okay.
There was a big thing.
It'd be interesting to see if the bar staff have had any occurrences since his claim.
Well, there was a big hoo-ha, and he allegedly nicked it without the bar staff knowing anything about it, the owner knowing anything about it. And he had a big campaign to get it back. There are other ghosts in there. There is a young barmaid who died in the 17th century over spilt ale, who haunts the place. There's also a ghost down in the cellar who tends to...
I just find a picture of the guy who allegedly nicked the ghost.
Yes. Mr. whatever his name is, Lu Pingyan.
Yeah.
He says, I feel very strongly that James Stanley's ghost should remain in Bolton. Yeah, this is Mr. Greenwood. It's thought that the royalist commander spent his last few hours at the pub before being executed outside the premises for his Mr. Lou came across the story after seeing that CCTV footage.
That is definitely strange. I'd happily capture something like that. I'd be very pleased if I could.
I'd be very happy if I ever caught anything like that.
Yeah, that's a very interesting one. I've got to bring up the... I can't remember the full details because it's been a long time, but the one that I found I know of is McGinty's. I'll just... McGinty's in Ipswich. There we go. That's the one. Right. I'm not sure if it's got a history on it though. This place, McGinty's, is literally 2 roads over from Eagle Street. There's a cafe at the very end of Eagle Street that is known for really severe poltergeist activity. And they actually do rent a flat above the cafe out. But this is McGinty's. It's in Ipswich Town Centre. There's an image from inside I want actually. Let me quickly get it up. Let's see if I can find it. I'm not sure if it's... image. As far as it's not McGinty's now. It's been hang on, wrong one. It's been changed. Where is it? There we go. That's the closest they've got. Right, so I'll use this one. I'm running, because I'm on Heidi's internet, my laptop's not used to it, so it's running a little bit slow. But this is McGinty's in Ipswich. I'll show you. I think the well has been filled in now, but there used to be a well actually sitting inside the pub, and the image I've got is what's left. Yeah, this is all that's left of it. They've knocked it down. It don't quite look like that now. It's been taken over by somebody else, so it's all been done up. But it's a traditional Irish bar. If I load, there we go. Towards the bottom of them stairs, where by where that table is, there was the well there, but that's been ripped out. It was like chest sort of height. This well. Now the thing that it's famous for, and whether it, like I said, it's changed hands now, I don't know. But if you look at this picture of McGinty's, the side where the blue building is, that's an optician's. On that side, there's a wall there that if you sit next to it, there's the sound of a heartbeat. And this, as far as I know, it's still going. As far as I know.
Nice.
But people go in there, teams have gone in there. The managers claim to have locked up, gone down in like the early morning to start doing the place up, and the glasses are stacked and been moved around. But yeah, the wall by the blue side of the pub where the alleyway is, the wall there is the sound of a human heartbeat, and they've never ever been able to explain the reasoning for it.
Yeah.
So McGinty's itself, let's have a quick look at the history of it. PJ McGinty's and Sons was a prominent Irish pub on Northgate Street in Ipswich, and it's been operating since the 17th century. It's a timber frame building renowned for live music, Guinness, and large covered courtyard. It's not a large courtyard. This kitchen is smaller than the courtyard. Original name and location. The pub is located on Northgate Street and was historically known as the Halberd Inn. The McGinty era is operated by McGinty's. I'm trying to find their so-called haunted history on. We'll have to find it up again because I hadn't been well when I weren't sure, and because I was going to have to be over here with the boys because we had the school. Harry check out the new school today. I didn't know I was going to be able to jump on, but they're actually being really good. So that's why I've jumped on. Right, McGinty's. PJ McGinty's on Northgate Street, Ipswich, is considered one of the most haunted pubs in Ipswich, featuring reports of phantom activity such as the sounds of a beating heart within the walls. Ghost hunters have reported strange lights, phantom noises in the basement, including barrels being moved. The beating heart, a persistent legend associated with the pub, is that placing your ear against a certain wall, which is the wall by the alley, you can hear a human heartbeat. Active spirits during documented ghost hunt, investigators reportedly heard barrels being moved around in the basement and captured strange, inexplicable lights on camera. It's a protective entity. Legend suggests an entity resides in the pub, with one tale detailing a ghost turning off all the fuses at a junction box, which reportedly saved the landlord from being electrocuted. Actually, there was on YouTube, the video clip of that landlord talking about that is actually on YouTube. I have seen that, and it's been shown on a couple of ghost programs as well. So, but yeah, that's the first one that came to mind when I was thinking haunted pubs. I did get to go in there before it changed hands, but I didn't get the chance to try and listen out for any ghosts because it's fairly busy, and I would have felt like a complete idiot sticking my ear against the wall. So I decided against it, and now obviously it's changed hands. So I don't know if the haunted tales are still going on. But yeah, that's McGinty's in Ipswich. So that's the first one that came to mind. Ian said about Skirridin.
Yeah, Skirridin. Most haunted pub in Wales. Another one that claims to be the oldest pub in the universe. Along with the other 150 that claim to be.
Oh, there's everywhere. The amount of times I've seen just this week alone, and we're only on like the third day, the most haunted pub in England, and
Yes.
Yeah.
the oldest pub in England. So when was this one built?
11th century, allegedly. But unfortunately for them, they can only find historical records going back to the 1600s. But despite uncertainty about its early date, the Skirridin's documented history is enough to capture any history buff's imagination. Most chilling chapter in the inn's past is its role as a courthouse and an execution site during the 17th century. The upper floors served as a place where justice, often harsh and final, was dispensed to those accused of crimes ranging from skeep stealing, which, given it was Wales, is no surprise, to highway robbery and murder. In the stairwell, there is an oak beam that spans across the stairwell that reportedly served as a makeshift gallows, and apparently 183 people met their fate there. And the actual beam still bears the scars from the hangman's noose.
And is this part of that one, is it?
This is one of the bedrooms as it is now.
Oh, okay.
This is believed to be where the courthouse was.
Oh, okay.
And hanging Judge Jeffries was allegedly one of the ghosts, one of the actual judges who sat there and condemned people to death. He is allegedly one of the ghosts as well. Although he's another one of those who he must have been a Harry Potter fan because he split himself into so many pieces. He haunts so many places, it's unreal. He must have do the tour.
Something tells me he's got a very guilty conscience.
Well, he did.
The reputation he had.
Yes, yeah, he wasn't a very pleasant guy.
Yeah.
He was renowned for actually, well, he's like you say, his reputation goes before him. But yeah, it's another one of those that's they claim to be the oldest. They claim to be I don't know. I've never been. I've seen a few of the old style, like Most Haunted and people like that do ventures there, and yes, there are a lot going on. There is a lot going on in there, but whether it is as haunted as it claims to be is another matter. I've never been sure myself. I'd love to visit just to find out. Anyway, I can never find me notes. This is a problem. I can never find. I've got that many bloody things open. I can't find me notes. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I think I finally found the pub that I had the visit from the dude that I mentioned to Mum when we lived in the Maisonette. I think I finally found what pub it is.
Mm.
So, as I've mentioned in another one of these, we lived in a masonette. I was playing on the stairs and I came in and said to Mum, there's a man wants to speak to you. And he basically had a deer stalker on. But at this point in time, I'm like 4, so I don't know what a deer stalker is, but I knew he had a pipe. So Mum came outside thinking it was a strange person hanging about in the staircase of the maisonette. Took me inside to play in Urbit. So I'm in the living room playing again, and I looks up and I'm like, Mum, that man's here again. Where is he? He stood over there behind Dad. Dad slumped down in the chair. And what's he doing? I don't know. He says he wants to talk to you. And she's like, well, I can't hear him, so I carries on playing. And a wee while later, I waved. What are you waving at? The man's just walked out the window. So there was a few months later, not long before we moved up here, there was an article in the paper, which I have since found out, I think, was the Telegraph and Argus. And it's talking about this pub, which if I can find the image, if it's taken, yes, it has taken it down. So it's an old photo because, of course, it was an old article. And no, not that one. The way it fits into the buildings around it, it's shaped like a coffin, is the pub. And being at the top of the hill, it's Bradford city centre, so you know fine well, it's a bit like Edinburgh. Everything's like volcanic slopes. So you can see already that the ground floor of the bar, which is the door that's facing us, is level with the first floor windows of the building on the left. So that gives you an idea how steep that hill is. Now, they excavated the basement and they find pikes and roundhead helmets and all sorts of stuff and tankards. And they put it all in glass top bars on display and put the pikes all the way up the wall of the staircase. Every time they were due to open, all the glass top bars were smashed and everything was thrown around the room, even though the place was locked up and they know for a fact nobody was there. It's later on called the Ram's Revenge, later on in more recent history. But anyway, after this had happened 3 or 4 times, the local papers volunteered to come and stay the night down in the cellar area to see what was going on. And they took a picture of the staircase showing all the pikes up the stairs. But there's a silhouette on the staircase of a man with one of them short shoulder-length capes and a deer stalker and a pipe. And Mum's sitting on the floor reading the paper, and I came across the room and I'm like, that's that man that was coming to talk to you. Our maisonette was about 2 miles from here. I don't know what the connection is, but that's the pub.
You said that's Bradford?
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
Never actually been in it, but I know it. I
it's at the
parked
top of
outside it.
It's the top of the hill for Ivegate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went,
It's where
something to do with work. I can remember going, and then, like I say, I parked outside it.
Aye.
Never been in it, unfortunately.
Aye, our house was about 2 miles from that, and it's at the top of Ivegate in Bradford city centre. And it literally is. It's like Edinburgh. It's like volcanic.
Yeah, it is hilly.
And it's where the dungeons were. And it's not just nowadays. Now people are more likely to report it. It's not just that pub that has reports. The buildings going down the hill in the photo or to the left side actually have also reported activity over the last 30, 40 years. So, but it's where the old dungeons were historically. It's where the dungeons were. So presumably the prisoners are a bit pissed off.
Yeah, not very nice places to stay, dungeons in those days, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Can
It's-
imagine the dungeons today.
Well.
No, these days are holiday camps.
Well, being
Yeah,
the slope that it is, there was a slaughterhouse on the uphill side of it, and the prison dungeons were down the way from it. So, knowing ancient towns, everything from the slaughterhouse is going to gravitate downhill, presumably. So the dungeons wouldn't be good. It made the headlines. No, that's the wrong one. That was the wrong page. I closed the wrong page. So yeah, the anecdotes for the Ram's Revenge, which is that pub, resurface every now and again in the Telegraph and Argus. So
Well, the one that Ian was talking about, is that what this one is?
Yeah, that's the Skirrid.
Yes.
I found my notes on the Skirrid. The outside the actual courtroom, which was that bedroom, there's a guard all in armour and everything who's supposedly still guarding. There's two other distinct spirits. There's a desperate man who took his own life to avoid the gallows. And there's the shadowy ghost of a former jailer.
So the thing is, if the courtroom's up the top there, that's ideal, isn't it? You know, found guilty, stand at the top of the stairs, broke round the neck, over the banister.
Yeah, that was the thing. They brought him in from one room, stood in front of the judge. He condemned him or whatever, sentenced him to whatever, and if it was death, like you said, took him straight out the door and
straight
over you go. There's also there's a ghost of a landlady, Fanny Price.
And is this the same place?
She's a gentle spirit. People have heard the rustle of period of a dress.
I'm loving all the candles smoke up the wall above the mantelpiece.
She's quite a gentle ghost. Usually, you know when she's around by the smell of lavender. You get sudden temperature drops. You get I'm not sure if it's this one where the mug on the thing on the end, the tankard on the end, on the left-hand end.
Yeah.
If you leave them it full, they'll come down in the morning and it's empty.
I was going to say there's somebody attached to it anyway. Not in the photograph, but in the wiggy wise, I can tell you that much from the photo.
Yeah, there's definitely someone who still likes a pint. There's other things that have happened that are inexplicable. £10 note stacked on the mantelpiece and levitated the length of the counter before dropping on the floor.
Nice.
With the coin still neatly piled up. When you imagine that, it's come off the mantelpiece, straight across the bar, fell on the floor, and the coins are still stacked up on it.
That's perfect. That's exactly the kind of stuff you want to catch on film.
Yes.
I'm going to have to sit in the background because my Libra's just started flashing. I'm on 25.2.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, go sort that out.
Yes, definitely.
I'll watch it from... I'll try and catch the pictures as soon as I can. So, I need to bring that down as quick as I can because it's getting to a dangerous level.
Yes.
I'm still watching from the background, and I'll click the pictures as soon as I get the chance.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheers.
All right, mate. Joe.
So, Joe.
All right. So I've got one going on right here. Carl, I just put up pictures. That should be all of them. I think 5. This place is called Ernestine and Hazel's. It's an old dive bar, 531 South Main Street in Memphis, Tennessee. What a history this place has. It's a burger joint and dive bar. I mean, how much more perfect can you get? It's celebrated for its gritty charm, famous soul burgers, one of the best jukeboxes in the country, and a wild history that makes it a prime spot for paranormal everything. The building dates back to the early 20th century, around the 1910s, 1930s, with some claims to the late 1800s. Starting as a pharmacy and sundry store, it was later became a jazz cafe, then a brothel, with upstairs rooms rented out, and finally reopened as a bar in 1993 by Russell Crowe. Ernestine and Hazel, Ernestine Mitchell and Hazel Jones, were hairdressers who received the building from the pharmacist who invented copper tone suntan oil. They ran it as a cafe hangout for the mid-20th century, attracting musicians like B.B. King, Tina Turner, Aretha Franklin, Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, Ray Charles, and even the Rolling Stones. They think the Honky Tonk Woman was inspired by this place.
No, nice.
She died in 1995 and Ernestine in 1998, and the bar embraces its haunted reputation. They do ghost tours, and they calls itself one of America's most haunted places. Hauntings stem from the building's layered past, church origins, from some accounts, a pharmacy, jazz scene, brothel era, with alleged violence, prostitutes murdered, suicides, lots of tragic deaths upstairs and things like that. Over a dozen people died in or near the building is what they're reporting, leaving residual energy and intelligent spirits both. Activity is split between downstairs, the public bar area, and upstairs, mostly closed off former rooms and suites, occasionally open for events or tours or something like that. But it's all closed up upstairs for the most part. The jukebox, the famous haunted jukebox. The star of most of the stories is this old machine. Patrons discussing a divorce might hear Tammy Wynette's DIVORCE playing in the background. Talking about James Brown on the day he died, it starts blasting, I Feel Good.
Nice.
Exorcisms, Rolling Stone Sympathy for the Devil kicks in. Rough Night at Work, it responds with fitting spirits. Many people attribute this to Ernestine herself or to other spirits, maybe.
Let's take that one back up, Carl, please.
Yeah. Playfully interacting. The former staff claims she communicates through it, and people in the jukebox, near the jukebox, report being touched by unseen hands, cold spots, or a present watching. Now upstairs seems darker.
Hi, Joanne.
That's the former
Hi,
Joanne. It's preserved in a vintage state, and like it was when they finally closed it down. Full body apparitions of women, often in white or red dresses, or a shadowy figure is seen in the hallways, mirrors, and rooms. Disembodied voices of women whispering, laughing, or crying. Echoes of partying days from the brothel, or partying from the brothel days. Footsteps, slamming doors, unexplained piano playing, or sounds of spectral parties continuing after closing. Poltergeist-like activity for objects moving, ashtrays sliding across tables, cold drafts, feeling being watched or touched, pinches on the stairs, hands on your shoulders. Specific entities include a sorrowful woman, possibly a prostitute who endured hardship or met a violent end, a child spirit from some accounts, and residual energy from murders and suicides. One former owner, Russell George, reportedly committed suicide upstairs, adding to the heavy atmosphere. Some say his spirit lingers. They've got orbs, ooh, faces in the walls, photos, and shadowy figures appear in visitor pictures. So some other reports. How about a bag of money vanishing and then reappearing years later?
Oh,
Interesting one. Who stole my money? And then it shows up 10 years later or whatever. Shows up again.
yeah.
Kind of strange.
Mm.
Employees fleeing after terrifying upstairs sightings. General heavy, watchful energy. Some describe a spirit who endured a hard life and wishes to be heard. I've always wanted to go to this place. It just seems like a great spot to
Sounds
get a
good.
burger and check out the atmosphere and see what you can pick up.
Yeah.
But
That corridor picture, there's at least 2 or 3 that wander that corridor.
Yes,
Yep.
there's definitely
I think
a
there's
vibe
actually
coming off
one
that.
stood. See, in the middle of the blue patch that's on nearest the left side,
yep.
I swear blind, there's actually one of them stood in that photo.
There's
Just in
one
the middle of that
there, and there's one at the
top of the
bottom.
stairs. Yeah,
Yeah, at the
right
bottom of the
far
corridor.
side of the stairs, because you've got
Yes.
there's a slight optical effect there as well. So like they were trying to be noticed.
Yes.
Whereas the one in the blue, I think, is like, I'm just
He's
going to
trying
stand
to-
here and pretend I'm
Yeah,
fine.
he's trying to be a wallflower.
Yeah.
But there's definitely something there.
That long bench right there along the wall. You got that long bench. You just have people
Yeah.
lined up. Okay, next.
Yeah.
The person goes on in.
Like, pose for a photo. Right, we had one.
Stuff like that fascinates me. I don't particularly want to go to America, to the cities and that.
Mm-hmm.
But things like that is what would make me go to America.
Well, Memphis and New Orleans both are just fantastic places.
Yeah.
The history and the hauntings and the everything that's going on in that place.
Yeah.
It's just they're both amazing places.
That whole ethos around there appeals. New York, nah, you can keep it.
Yeah.
Even San Francisco.
Nah.
Nah.
I even found oddities in Key Largo when we were on holiday years ago. I mean, all we really saw was 2 hotels and the little key that was between the 2 hotels, the little marina. But the whole place had the kind of energy I would expect of New Orleans. Yeah. I don't know if it's because of the low-lying land, high-lying water, or what. But we came out the hotel because we were literally only there overnight. So like we were there from like supper time overnight and left about lunchtime. So in the morning, well, in the evening, I had wandered around the outside of the hotel and I was being pulled into an area that at that point, all I could see was darkness. And I'm like, okay, I'm in a different place. I don't know anybody here. I'm not wandering off into the dark. So in daylight, I went back down to the same bit and wandered down this path that had been darkness the night before, and it took you down to the marina. And nothing paranormal, but it led me to the African Queen, the original ship from the movie, is in the quay between the 2 hotels. It's in the little marina there up on display. And to me, it struck me as, well, there's nothing paranormal, but there's obviously some kind of energy around it. But when you think of all the energy involved in making a movie, especially back then, when you didn't have green screen and CGI and you actually had to do it, maybe that's what was pulling me. So, I mean, it's nothing to do with haunted pubs. It's just energies around whenever, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes we notice it and sometimes we don't.
Key West has got a lot of that New Orleans feeling.
Yeah.
Parts of Key West, anyway, not the whole place, but parts of it. You wander around, and it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. One of the other oddities I've got, where are we going? We're gonna go down to Derby Jail, which I haven't downloaded images of. But Derby Jail was a jail during the 1700s. During the 70s and 80s, it was a nightclub. Now, of course, it's a touristy place with a small police museum type bit inside it. It's not really police museum, but you've got they've got the original cell, some of the original cell doors. They've got some of the original manacles and things like that. So it's quite cool, and it's renowned for being haunted. Now, when we were there, we were going, basically, it was a party. So the bar was running. It's a very limited bar, so don't go in there expecting real ales. Go in there expecting tins, bottles, things like that. But we were down for a party, and of course, there is the paranormal edge. The cell that used to be the condemned cell is renowned for people coming out of it with injuries. Yay! There we go. Yep.
I just downloaded that picture.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the same as one of my millions of photos I've got on my Facebook from Derby Jail. The picture down the back end on the far wall is the last man. He's not the last executed. He's one of the last executed, but his hanging was a complete disaster. The hangman had to be skilled, as in taking your height and weight into account when they're going to hang you to make sure they do a good job. Well, this dude was a fat git, and the guy hadn't done his sums right. So when the hatch dropped on the platform and he dropped down, his head was fired off into the crowd. So he wasn't just hung, he was hung and beheaded at the same time because they hadn't done their sums right. That's the debtor's cell. In there's a set of twins, famous, executed. They were hung for burning 3 hay bales, which is kind of the stuff they used to do during the late 17s, early 18s. The slightest little thing was a sin and you could be executed for it. But they are noticeable even to people who aren't sensitive. Hello. So I was sitting in there one night, all on me Todd. That's Freddie the dummy. We were sitting in the debtor cell, and it was the first time I'd been down there. And I had this idea, these 2 people coming out the wall. I didn't know the stories at this point. I had literally arrived half an hour earlier, and I was sitting in that room in the dark. And I had this idea, these 2 people coming out, and it felt like I had one sitting either side of me. And then the one on my right-hand side linked arms with me, and it actually felt, you know how you can feel somebody's presence even if they don't say anything? Yeah. It literally felt like there was a hand coming across here. And I'm sitting there in the dark. I'm like, don't you dare or I'll beat you up. And I felt the person take their arm out of my arm. And then I shouted out, I'm like, right, can somebody put the lights on so I can find my way out now? And one of the brothers of the twins is known to be a groper. So if you are a lady that is a C or higher, don't be sitting in there on your own for very long because you might get your boobs grabbed. And it's not a nice experience when it's an invisible person. In the condemned cell, numerous people have come out of the condemned cell with a bleeding nose. I spent an hour and a half sitting in the condemned cell on one of my visits. I didn't have a bleeding nose, but when I came out of the cell, I had a big red handprint on my face like I'd been slapped, but I never actually felt anything. Another time I had a black eye. I spent the night there one night. It was one of these last minute trips. we had to have a big meeting before we all went down to London for filming. So we're all there, and I've gone down on Megabus, which Megabus from Inverness to Derby. Yeah, don't use the toilet on the bus. Yeah, you can imagine. So I hadn't had chance to book a hotel. All the hotels were full. So Richard kindly let me spend the night at the jail and use it as a hotel if I wanted. So I stayed the night. Yeah, okay. The bar's not open, but he showed me where the kitchen was, showed me where the kettle, the coffee, the milk, etc. That's all I need. So I spent the night. It gets to about 1 o'clock. Everybody else is gone. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm on my own. I've locked the doors. I'm literally locked in. I'm sitting in the day room watching videos on my phone, and I hear footsteps coming up the corridor. Yes, that's the room where I was sitting. That's the day room. And I'm sitting to the left of the fireplace. So I'm sitting at this table on our left here, watching videos on my phone. And I'm hearing footsteps coming down the corridor. So I went out and looked, and I'm like, okay, there's nobody there. And I wasn't tired enough to sleep, and knowing I'd already had several experiences in this place, I didn't fancy actually trying to sleep. So I went and sat in the condemned cell. You could hear the footsteps again. You could hear keys jingling. So I opened the cell door. I'm like, Blythe, put your keys away. You've no need to lock me in. There's just me here. Behave yourself. And went back, sat down. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder. Now, bear in mind, those cells, if you stand in the middle and put your arms out like that, you're pretty much touching both sides. And I'm sat with my back against a brick wall, a solid brick wall, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder. So I went and sat in the debtor's cell for a bit. Could still hear the footsteps. I thought, well, I'm not spending the night sitting in the toilet. So I sat in the museum room. Again, the footsteps and the keys. The only time I had peace where you didn't hear the footsteps and the keys, the place is shaped like a wee cross, basically. I put a stool smack bang in the middle of the crossroads and sat there so I could see both directions. No footsteps then. So my sleep that night consisted of 25 minutes on a 9-inch high stool, which is basically a chopping block, for want of a better phrase, sitting on the crossroads of the corridor with my chin on my hands and my elbows on my knees, 20 minutes sleeping like that. And then there's bang, crash, wallop coming out of the day room, and I thought, oh, maybe one of the logs on the fire's couped out, it's fell out maybe. I went through, there's nothing going on, the fire's gone out. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. Took my coffee outside, made myself a coffee, took my coffee outside, had a cigarette, and then decided to open the place for business, ready for visitors. But by that time, it was only 5:30 in the morning, but I'd given up trying to get any rest. It's a busy building. It is a busy building. So, and I thoroughly recommend a visit, whether you're into the history or into the hauntings. You will find lots there. Richard and his staff are very much like me. Most of them are closet historians, but there's also the paranormal edge to it as well. So, and of course, Richard, if you're an old style Most Haunted fan, Richard was the original historian on Most Haunted. So it's Derby Jail itself is on Agard Street in Derby. I can't remember what the last of it is, but it's DE1 something, something, something. So it's right in the middle of town. It's a 10-minute walk for the Guildhall at most. So thoroughly recommend a visit. They always have the kettle on, and they have a little selection of historic reference materials that Richard's done, and quite a lot of the haunted stuff, DVDs, books, all sorts. So it's quite cool. And if you've never ever had an experience and you want one, try Derby Jail, because it's busy. There's quite a few people still there from the 16 and 1700s. On you go.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, this is the old George Inn in Newcastle. Again, allegedly one of the most haunted pubs in the country. It's allegedly haunted by King Charles I, who's reputedly seen walking around minus his head. He's believed to have frequented it in the 1640s, and there's a chair there that is allegedly the one he sat in, although that's since been disputed and people say it's a replica that was brought in, but he does allegedly still sit in it and has a pint with his people. It was established in 1823 as the Blackie Boy. And there's one of the sub-manager there who's remained nameless. Whilst working on the second floor, a particular individual heard what could only be described as a harrowing scream, followed by a malevolent voice commanding her to get out. Get out.
Oh, sorry, I've just had a paper avalanche on the desk.
Another guy, he ambled along across the function room towards the toilets. He noticed that the door leading into the gents was opened. It then crashed shut in what seemed an unnatural way. First of all, he thought it was a gust of wind or perhaps a draft that could have been responsible, but when he actually checked it out, all the windows in that area were closed. I think that's highly unlikely to be a ghost. That's the chair that's allegedly where he sits, but it is. People have said it is a replica.
Yeah.
The guy, like I say, he was going across. He moved back downstairs to reflect on what he'd witnessed, and he decided that it must have been paranormal. He decided he'd go and pay a visit to the toilets on the first floor, not the second. Enough to scare the crap out of him, but not there and then. Like I say, allegedly it's one of the most haunted pubs up in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Seeing as we have an office up there, I'm going to go and pay it a visit when I'm up there.
Aye, let us know if you notice anything.
I will do. It's a lovely old pub from the sound of it and the look of it. It's an old classical Tudor look. Although it
always love a pub that's got an old-fashioned fireplace.
Yes,
whether it's an 1800s one or a 1500s one.
The problem is it's been done out as they usually do these days. It's been stripped out and it's now a modern bar. Wooden floor, bloody laminate flooring, lights, all the rest of it. It's not. But I shall pay it a visit and see what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find some information. There's another pub in Bolton, the old Blue Boar, or was. There was extremely haunted, so much so that a room on the upper floors was boarded up for over 40 years.
I can give you another one from Derby that's a bit like that.
That's
the modern.
That's the modern.
That's not bad. At least they haven't ripped the timbers out in the ceiling.
No, it's better than it could be, but it's still. Yeah. I'll try and find some more on the Blue Boar, because it is there was poltergeist activity in the pub as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said, when I did a initial research, it came up with 25 pubs in Bolton that are haunted.
Yeah.
But down to work commitments and everything, I've not had a chance to do as much research. And I can attest that, yes, there are quite a few of them that are haunted,
Yeah.
having been in them. And it's not just the drink talking.
Well, another one I've spent time in is, when I get it to come down, this one here. It's the Old Bell in Derby. It's down in Sadlergate in Derby. And it's been a pub for centuries. It's the last surviving coaching inn in Derby. The very top floor is not used. But just to give you an idea, here's a... I'll find the images. Yeah. This is one of the rooms, and it lets me take the image down. Out in the courtyard, they've got their Tudor lounge, which you can hire for like birthdays and functions and things. And yes, it's recently been done out in the last 20-25 years, but I love how they've done it. And you can see why they still call it the Tudor Hall. The main bar room is not far off that kind of idea as well. But the Tudor bar room still has a nice cozy wee fireplace. Give me photographs. You're not giving me photographs. But in the building, the top level, there's no electric. Because every time they install the electrics in the top floor, they have a fire. And here's a view that you would recognize it by if you were wandering round Sadlergate. And you can totally see that it was an old coaching inn. The main bar room is lovely. When we went in for an investigation, we went into the main bar, which is this one I'm just putting up. And there's a buzz because, of course, there's like 10, well, about 7 of us for this investigation. And it has been done on several TV programs. So we're sat back beside the windows at the far end, right? And there's a wee buzz on, and we're all chit-chatting. And I went up to the bar, and from about where the photo's taken, where that guy is sitting on your left, there was a wee old man sitting beside that window. And he looked at me and smiled, so I gave him a nod and a wave. And we carried on. I went and sat back down, and my pal's like, "Who was you waving to?" I'm like, "The wee manny that's sitting in that chair." "There's nobody sitting in that chair." "Oh, okay." "But it's not down here that's haunted, it's upstairs." And I'm like, "Well, if there's nobody sitting in that chair, I beg to differ." So we went right up into the top floor, up into the apex of the building. And you have, first floor has function rooms and an extra bar. Second floor, you have the offices. Third floor is staff accommodation. Fourth floor is right up just below the eaves of the building. So you still have a staircase from there coming up. And as you're going up, it's getting colder and colder, which is kind of odd because it's July and we're in Derby. So for me, at least, it should be getting warmer because heat rises. It's getting colder and colder. We get up to the staff area and into the staff kitchen, have our supper in the staff kitchen. And then a member of staff takes us up into the attic. Up in the attic space, you have a dark staircase, which leads you up to another landing. There are 2 doors from the staff level to the attic. You've got the one at the bottom of the staircase and the one at the top of the staircase. Then there's a room on your left, a room dead ahead of you, and a room on your right, or at least that's what it looks like from where you stood. The room on the left is filled with Christmas decorations, old neon lights, and all sorts of stuff you'd expect to find for a hotel. The room dead ahead of you is another one-way square room, and you've got the big diagonals coming up from the pillars that are holding the roof up. And the room on the right, which you're told not to go into, but after my 7th visit there, I was allowed to go in there. The room on the right isn't a room. It's a room that leads to a corridor that leads to 5 other rooms. Now, these 5 other rooms, of course, there's no power up there. The rooms that it leads to, the floors are kind of like that. You know, there's nothing like that in the room on the right, which is why you're told not to go there. Most of the floors are kind of like that. So you stick to the sides of the walls as you're exploring. And one of the guys that was with us had sent me off on a wee recce. He's like, right, go and see which is the freakiest room of all the rooms up here. So I had a wander round and I went back to the group and I'm like, I found the freaky room. Right. So he came with me. He was the group leader. And another girl came with me who was 8.5 months pregnant. Don't go ghost hunting when you're 8.5 months pregnant. By all means, go ghost hunting when you're overdue. But don't go when you're not quite due. We're sitting there and the 3 of us are sitting underneath the window. So the little bit of light that's coming in from outside. Again, it's like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning by now. So there's hardly any light, even though it is July. It's not like up here where you can still have daylight. So we've got the tiny little bit of light behind us to give us a better chance of seeing anything coming in the door towards us. And we're sitting there and the pregnant lassie's like, I don't like it. I'm scared. And at this point, I was a lot bigger than I am. And I'm like, well, it's too much effort for me to get back up again and then come back. I says, so you take her through. So the lad took her back through to the group. And it's just me and him. And we're sitting there and we're just sitting in silence, seeing what we can hear. And there's pops and creaks happening from the other side of the room where there's not another living soul. And so on and so forth. And then I turned around and says to him, I says, get your camera ready. He's like, why? I says, somebody's coming in the room. He's like, I didn't hear anything. I says, no. I says, but I can feel it. So get your camera ready. So somebody came into the room. He starts filming. And on the video, you hear him. Is it just me or is it getting darker in here? And I'm like, well, you can't see your hand in front of your face, but yes, it is getting, you know, that darker than dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting darker in here. And then I says to Steve, I says, you might want to get up. And he's like, what? I says, I think you're going to want to run in about 5 minutes time. And he's like, what about you? I says, I can't run for nothing, but we'll see what happens. So we both kind of half got up. So we're kind of bobbed down rather than sat on the floor now. And you can feel something getting closer and closer and closer. And it gets to about here in front of our faces. and all you get is like 2 inches from my nose. Steve was off like a whippet. And I'm like, yeah, cheers, dude. So, being the kind of person I am, I just shouted, back the bleep off. I know you want to fight. You can fight me later, but we're not fighting in this room because the floor's not safe. Feel free to follow me. Went through to the thing and joined the group, and the rest of the group are like, don't bring that thing in here. And I'm like, it's probably not even following me. But I've done 7 or 8 visits to that place now, and every time somebody gets wounded. There was one time we had a lassie with us, literally 5 foot nothing and about 6 stone weight through. A size 6 would have been baggy on her, right? And as we're doing the investigation, she's getting red marks appear on her face, like handprints. And I saw a red mark appear around here. I'm like, right, that's it. No more. You're going downstairs. And she's like, no, I want to be involved. And I'm like, okay. So I start slagging the thing off again. I'm like, come on then, pick on somebody your own size, picking on the smallest person in the group, the youngest person in the group. How's about picking on me? You're a big bloke. You've got a set of balls, but I bet I've got a bigger set. And at this point, I'm stood up. I'm at the top of the stairs. I get pushed back against the wall, and I can feel the hands around my throat. Literally pushing where they should be pushing to kill you. Then my feet left the floor. At that point, I passed out. I came to at the bottom of the staircase. 21 stairs between the landing and the bottom of the staircase. I hadn't broken anything. I just had cuts and bruises and scrapes. And I woke up to find 4 of the group hysterical, screaming, crying and everything. And one of the guys rummaging for his first aid kit going, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. What's wrong with everybody? And then one of the lassies showed me the video on her old VCR handheld. When my feet left the floor and I passed out, my head went up to the ceiling, came across to the middle of the ceiling, which is the middle of the staircase, and I dropped like a stone. So it picked me up and dropped me over the banister. Unfortunately, it's a VCR recording. She didn't have any way of sending it to me, and she refused to send me the original, which is understandable. It's her tape. So I have no evidential proof, apart from the 10, 15 people that were there and witnessed it. So, yeah. Don't go picking a fight with spooks unless you know you can handle them.
Sorry, I had to jump out, but my bloods are at a dangerous level at the minute. Oh, here goes the puppy. I'm now on 25.7. So that's not very good.
Has she got a stationary bike she can wheel into the room for you to use to bring it down?
They have actually, yeah, they've got a treadmill. So
yeah,
I'm trying to drink water, but that isn't actually. It normally works, but it isn't actually working today. Yeah. So I am watching it with great interest. If I'm just coming on, if you had any more, any of you.
Yeah, I've got another one too here.
All right, just come just pop a picture.
Let me pop up a couple of pictures, and then we'll go.
That's mine.
If you're already set.
Again, he's Bolton, my hometown. The Blue Boar it's no longer there, unfortunately. Again, it was a victim of Bolton Council's vandalism, ripping old buildings down, leaving them to rot. so they became dangerous, and then saying they needed to be ripped down. What's in its place now is student accommodation. There's a grotesque bloody, yeah.
1970s cardboard box design, is it?
It's brickwork and windows and horrible bloody place. But that's what Bolton Council want. Or should I say Bolton Council?
Is this not the same one?
No, that's the Bradford one.
Mm-hmm.
It actually closed in 2016. It's been replaced by flats, like I said. But before it closed, it was renowned for paranormal activity, specifically a third floor bedroom that was sealed, like I said, for over 40 years. It was reopened in 2011, and some of the ghosts that were in there was a little girl and a former army gentleman. He's a very old gentleman, but he was dressed up in army gear, but it never came clear what period of history he was from. Just that he was dressed in army uniform. Other hauntings there include a phantom dog that used to be seen running up and down the stairs. That was seen by quite a few people. Sounds of a child crying, allegedly linked to a woman who was thrown out of the pub in winter, who died on the streets outside. Archaeological finds, they did discover in the 1950s bones that were thought to belong to a cavalier. They were found in the cellar. But there was also talk of of poltergeist activity, things being thrown. That was part of the reason the actual room was boarded up. It wasn't a very pleasant experience from all accounts in there. And that's as much. I did have more on it, but like I say, I can't find my book. I have got a book on the hauntings of Bolton, and like I said, there's quite a few pubs around here that are haunted. Usually, like they said, it's usually either the bar staff who haunt. Most tend to clear up. There are a few that are nasty. There's the odd one, like you say, where you walk in, you see someone sat there, but no one else can see him.
Yeah.
Or you walk in. I don't particularly see spirit. I don't see ghosts particularly, but I definitely know they're there.
I'm really bad for testing out the old dead man's chair.
Yeah.
Every pub I've ever been in that's got one, I've sat in that chair for at least an hour.
Well, the one in the man inside, Mr. Stanley sat in the night before he was actually topped. Like I say, he used to be pinned in the corner up at ceiling level. It's no longer at ceiling level, but it has got his head, papier-mâché head, sat in a display case. So, but yeah, it's one of those, like I said, the one at the George Inn that we showed before up in Newcastle is a replica.
There's another one in Derby that springs to mind. It was called Jorrocks at the time. I can't remember what it is. It's one of them that they keep changing the name. They found a skull in the basement when they were extending the basement. And it was dated back to Viking era and so on and so forth. And they're all like, oh yeah, we've got the skull of a Viking warrior, blah, blah, blah. Of course, Derby being a big crossroads for England, the Vikings would have made a point of going over there trading and things like that. So, oh yeah, for decades they were saying they had the skull of one of the Viking warriors. And it was DNA tested. It's actually a woman who's English. So, but they do think they examined the skull properly. And she died by severe blunt force trauma. There's a hole in the size of her in the top of her skull, the size of my fist. Right? Proper blunt force trauma. But she does date back to those times, so she might have been killed by a Viking. She might have been killed by a jealous husband because she was fancying a Viking. Because, of course, when the Vikings came over to England and Scotland, they had a wash every day. And they combed their hair every day. The British lads didn't. So, of course, the women are all like, hello. So she is of the correct time period. We don't know who she is, why she was there or whatever, but it's definitely blunt force trauma cause of death. But there's not that much activity reported in there, except the one time that they tried to remove the skull from the building. The first 24 hours was fine. By the time you roll into the 48 hours, you had the screaming skull thing, where there's screams echoing through the building. So when they had her away for testing, they had to set up a lab in the university nearby so that she was only out of the building for just under 24 hours at a time to stop the screaming from happening. And she's still there, but now she's being kept in she's being kept in conditions that would actually keep and preserve the skull rather than just sat on top of a glass box that she used to be in. Now it's all hermetically sealed and yada, 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 lab conditions. So, but yeah, there's quite a few places. I mean, there's 2 bars in Bristol. I walked in the door and saw somebody sitting in the corner, and same again, the others weren't there. But when I described one of them in the Market Arms, which is up one of the wee alleyways off the outdoor market in Bristol, the boy behind the bar says, I know exactly who that is from your description. And yes, that's where he used to sit. And he's only been gone about 6 months. And he was still sitting in his corner. So,
why not?
Creature of habit, obviously.
That's it. Well, that's something else I remember about the Blue Boar. It's there were allegedly Roman soldiers who used to march through.
Nice.
On a fairly regular basis. I never saw them myself, but
that's been reported in Batley and Dewsbury as well. I don't know if it was reported officially, but reported to the local newspapers. So,
Joe, I jumped in on yours.
Oh, don't worry about it. I know you're all going to say, oh my God, here he goes again, but let's jump back down to New Orleans. Love that town. I used to do a lot of work at the Coast Guard office down there in town, and used to work at do jobs at Stennis Space Center over in across the river.
This is one of yours, Joe?
Yeah. And wait a minute, let me look here. I got my script. Yeah, that's one of them. This is the old Absinthe House in New Orleans.
Well, if you were ever going to see ghosts or things, absinthe would be the way to go.
Yeah. Little green fairies and all the stuff that people would see drinking it. Yeah. So this place was also owned by Jean Lafitte, or partially owned by Jean Lafitte. But some really interesting stuff has happened here. It was established in 1806. This bar on Bourbon Street. It was rebuilt after the 1788 fire that was on the site. There was a bar there earlier than that, but this was rebuilt in 1806, reestablished, and off it went. It began as a grocery store, spirit shop before becoming the legendary Absinthe House, dating back to the early 19th century.
Ooh,
The
Cool.
bar is famous for its marble fountains used for the traditional absinthe drip over the sugar cube. Uh, the celebrity patrons over the years, from pirates to presidents to musicians like Frank Sinatra, and its role in New Orleans lore, especially as the alleged meeting spot where Jean Lafitte, the famous pirate, and Andrew Jackson, General Andrew Jackson, planned aspects of the defense of New Orleans during the War of 1812. Getting ready for the Battle of New Orleans, where the famous song came from. It's a staple on ghost tours with its dimly lit, antique-filled interior, including walls covered in business cards and old memorabilia. The Green Fairy, absinthe hallucinogenic reputation, adds a mystical layer to the whole thing. Some jokes.
Can well
Some
imagine
jokes
you
might
sat there
be-
drinking absinthe in that place. You
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks
definitely.
so cool. I could spend the entire night there, alcohol
Yes.
or not.
Yeah. But it's pretty neat, though, isn't it?
Mm.
It's
is.
right there on Bourbon Street, too. So the hauntings center on loyal patrons who refuse to leave, blending pirate history, political intrigue, voodoo, and everyday bar antics. Jean Lafitte, of course, has been seeing there, tall pirate hat guy, like we talked about in the last one I did of Jean Lafitte's bar.
Mhm.
Andrew Jackson, the future president, then a general, is spotted occasionally, sometimes hanging out with Lafitte's ghost.
Cool.
Fitting their historical alliance. Reports include a stern military figure in period attire, appearing briefly before fading again. How about Marie Laveau, the famous voodoo queen?
Oh, nice.
Oh, yes.
She's said to have frequented the bar in life and lingers in the shadows now. Her spirit adds a mystical, watchful energy.
It's
Some link her
totally
to-
the place that she would have been.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. That in her shop and her house. So, but poltergeist activities going on there. They've seen a woman in a long white dress. Residual spirit reportedly from the building's past, including the upstairs areas, which was once used as a brothel.
Of course.
Yeah,
And why
children.
not?
Of course.
You
I mean,
need
if you got
somebody
the
to
room-
look after you when you're seeing the green dragons and the green fairies.
Yes.
There's supposedly a child spirit.
I've not had a drink
heard
yet.
running up and down the third floor with footsteps or playful sounds. Benjamin Butler, the controversial Civil War general, and other historical figures occasionally are mentioned in the thing. So they've got poltergeist activities, bottles flying or moving on the shelves, glasses shattering mysteriously, chairs shifting, objects rearranging, doors opening and closing on their own, cold spots, disembodied whispers, voices. Now that'd be from the brothel upstairs, I'm sure. Upstairs feels darker, of course, with reports of blood-curdling screams, disembodied whispers, and shadowy figures. So that's kind of the old Absinthe House. I've seen it, I just never went in. So that would have been kind of interesting. You'd work until 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and then I'd go down to Kerry Irish Pub down in the very southern part, very south of the French Quarter. Have a couple of pints there, and then start wandering around to other places. It's always good. I used to stay in a hotel on Rampart Street, which is supposedly really, really dangerous to do. But I'd walk back from the pub and just walk on up. And I remember one time I'm coming back about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning from the Kerry Irish Pub. I was talking with friends down there, having some fun, and walking back up, and this big guy, I mean, huge man, steps out from the darkened hallway and he goes, "You got a cigarette?" I said, "Yeah." And he gave him a cigarette and lit it for him. We're sitting there talking. He says, "You like ghosts?" Well, of course, who doesn't? And he says, "Sit down. I got a story for you." And so we sat down on this curb or on these steps at a building, and we smoked all the cigarettes I had and finished the beer I had in my hand. You can walk around in New Orleans with a beer in your hand. I'm just sitting there listening to this guy tell me story after story about the old stories his grandmother used to tell him. And I don't know if the guy was real or not, but we sure did go through a whole pack of cigarettes pretty quick. But but it was really an interesting time. And then I just got up and said, well, thank you very much, and walked back to the hotel. And it was just a really weird evening. But I've never had a problem down there in the French Quarter. Walk like you own the place and you're good.
It's like a lot of places. If you go looking for trouble, you'll find it.
Right.
If you don't, if you just
There's only one time I've
all
been
look like you belong.
One time I've been somewhere that could have gone seriously dodge. We had, it was when we were on the cruise, we had just pulled into Miami and it was like, right, okay, cruise is finished. Get the tattoo, go home. So went down to Miami Ink for my tattoo. And we were there an hour before they opened. I'm like, right, well, we've got nothing else to do. So me and Mum have got tins of juice and sitting on one of the benches in the street having a fag. We've both got our suitcases with us, which is probably the mistake we made. Mum ran out of cigarettes and we found a little shoppy. She went in to get fags. I'm stood outside finishing my fag. And this big van comes round, big white van with a black scorpion painted on it. And I'm thinking, cool paint job, but don't make eye contact. And they went past me. And there was 2 or 3 sitting in the front. 5 minutes later, they come round again. And again. By the time they passed me the 4th time, I was going into the shop myself. And it's like, yeah, because you think when you see places like Miami and that, you see all the touristy bit when you go as a tourist. But you don't realize that Cardboard City is literally 50 yards behind the tourist bit.
Yep.
And these, I'll call them a group, but you know what I'm saying? This group of Latinos in a van, every time I came round, there was more faces in the windscreen. And by the 4th time they came round, I'm like, right, it's taken Mum an awful long time to buy them cigarettes. I went into the shop and I just stood in the corner and one of the shop wifeys says to me, are you okay? But first off, she asked me in Spanish. So at that point I knew, no hablar. It was all I knew at that point. So she said in English, are you okay? So sister says, yes. I'm just waiting on my mum who's come in earlier. And I explained why I had come in. And she's like, the white van with the black scorpion. I says, yeah. She's like, yeah, you did right. You should have come in the second time they passed you. So, yeah, when you're in wherever you are in the world, you have to be aware of your surroundings and aware of the people around you. And when you see patterns in behavior like the same car, van, or person coming past you 2 or 3 times, it's time to move and find somewhere public to be where you're not stood on your own.
Yes. I similar went to Cape Town, took my daughter to Cape Town. I could quite happily live in Cape Town.
Yeah.
We went all over the place. Not an issue. You've got the shanty town and all the rest of it. And no, I wouldn't like to walk around there, but we didn't try. On the last day, the day we were supposed to fly back, we were picked up from the airport and taken to a hotel in the middle of Cape Town. Very well-to-do looking area. Across the road from the hotel was a car showroom full of Ferraris, Maseratis, Lamborghinis, all that sort of. And we were told that our plane hadn't left London and we would be flying back 12 hours later.
Mm.
So, myself and my daughter, we'd had a bit of a kip, then decided we were going to go out for a walk. Went across the road, had a look at the cars, started walking down the road, and I heard a whistle behind me.
Mm.
And my daughter's only about, I think she was about 7 or 8 at the time. I glanced behind me. There was 2 lads, young lads, about 100 yards behind us, trying to act nonchalant. And then I heard an answering whistle from in front of us. And then
Yeah.
another one from slightly off where we were. I said, come on, we'll go back now. But I want to go, no, come on, we'll go back.
Yep, hotel
The
time.
whistles were getting directing. I thought, no way on God's earth am I.
Yeah.
I grew up in a rough arse area and I know the signs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am not becoming a victim on my last day.
Yeah. I mean, it's like even walking through the woodies and stuff. I mean, I grew up rural, but when you hear animal calls, bird calls that you're not familiar with, when they appear to be replying to each other, that is your cue to turn round, because animals don't have conversations.
No.
Animals and birds,
Coming down the path.
it tends to be food, food, food. Hello, friend, food.
Yeah.
It's
Get
not
out of my area.
Yeah. It's not a conversation when it's real animals or birds. So if you hear a reply, it's probably a person and you need to get out of that area.
Yes.
I've got a little one quickly. I'll try and get this before. It's down. It's down to 25.1, but it's still higher than it should be. This is the Lollards in Norwich.
Heard of that?
Not been there to Norwich for about 17 or 18 years when I lived down there. And when I was down there, it was actually a privately owned bikers bar. Unless you're part of the biking group, you couldn't go in there. To the right of that pub is what is a car park, but it's what was called the Lollard Pit. I believe it's 1500 on something. 1500 it was. It started out as a gravel pit. What did they get? Let me tell you. Mining chalk, clay, and gravel for the Fort Hamlet area and like building around there. But then it was used for punishment.
Now, used for executions.
It was eventually used for executions, yeah. Apparently the pit was about 35 feet deep, and along the rim of it they would stack pyres with stakes on them. There's one story recorded in the local history up there. A woman that was heavily pregnant, due to give birth any day. Her husband came back drunk with a load of his friends and expected her to be shared out. And she was due to give birth any days, so obviously that's one thing she don't want to do. So she was classed as a heretic. She was taken to the head of the town. The head of the town said yes, she is a heretic. She's refused her husband's orders. She was put to the stake and set on fire. Partway through, she went into labour, so they took her off, let her give birth. They nailed the baby to the stake next to her and tied her back onto the stake and set fire to the baby's pyre and burnt it. Partially burnt her, threw the baby down the pit and threw her half dead on top of the baby.
Lovely people.
So
not guilty.
That was me. I forgot to sign out of work, so I'm just signing out of work now.
That's an awful lot of overtime.
Yeah.
And the other one I've very quickly got is the Adam and Eve pub, built in 1249. So it's supposedly one of the oldest pubs around. You can see the Norwich Cathedral just to like on the screen. It'd be to the right of the pub, and the cathedral was built, and they used the pub and the people that built the cathedral. They fed them with bread and beer. So the people who actually built the Norwich Cathedral didn't actually get paid. They only got paid in bread and beer.
Yeah.
The reason being is underneath there is a lot of caverns and a lot of tunnels, and those used for bringing things like wool and sand, contraband. The salt, sand, and wool were contraband at the time. And the landlord that owned the pub had his hands in it. Also, the Ket's Rebellion started at that pub.
Right.
Robert Ket's brother versus brother, basically. Look into it. It's easy to look into because how high my blood levels are at the moment, I really don't feel well enough to go into too much of it. But basically, it's that's where the Ket's Rebellion started. And if I can quickly find the image.
1549.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If I just quickly bring this picture down. This is called Ket's Cave Park. And this is where the final battle actually happened, where Robert Ketz got killed. Let me bring up the image. Where are we? There's that one. Right, it says it's come up. I can't see it. Oh, there it is. There we go. There we go. And this is Ket's Cave Park. If you look to that tree that's more or less centre where the park is, if you look to the house, the far right, the very end house, that's where I lived with third wife, Kath. We lived in there. Where in between that tall tree in the middle and the little one there was a bench there, and we'd done a EVP session there. And when we was testing out some equipment to see what it was like, and there was a bat that was flying really low and it kept dive bombing us. And on it, you can actually hear me saying, "Look, there's the bat there." And then on the audio, there's another male voice, and it says, "Don't go near that cave." So we looked into it, and apparently there was tunnels and a cave entrance somewhere in that park. But in the 1940s or 50s, a little girl had gone in there and had died. She'd got stuck in there and died. So it all got filled in. At the time, there was one person left in Norwich that knew where the entrance was. A very old person knew where the entrance was. But yeah, there's but the Adam and Eve, the manageress could be a bit of a funny bugger. If you was going in there spending loads and loads of money, you could investigate as much as you wanted. But she wouldn't say, "Oh, all right, if you want to hire it, it's like 500 quid." But she'd expect you to go in there and spend like £300, £400, £500 on food and drink and things like that. And she could be really funny unless you a team that's gone down there regularly, and then she was up their asses. But apparently there was a lot of regular activity there, especially up near the toilets. People reporting seeing people walking past them into the toilets and then never ever leaving. People in 15th century, like 1500 clothing, supposedly seen walking around there, and supposedly sounds of battles and gunshot as well. Mind you, it's Norwich. Gunshot was probably quite common, to be honest. But but yeah, that's the only couple of little bits I've got, really, unfortunately. So
Well, that's not bad though. That's still taking us to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's not short.
Oh my God.
We'll have to do another one of these because I've got about 10 or 15 more to go.
I was going to say, I've got a few. We haven't covered the ancient ramen.
Oh, yeah. Haven't even got to that yet. I was just sitting here thinking, who's going to do that?
Yeah, go for it. I'm trying to.
Like you say, I think we do another one. And
yeah. Don't get
when I'm not heavily snowed under at work, so I can actually get me notes together. So I'm more organised.
I'm using my little laptop as well, so it's not the. Actually, ironically, this has been working quicker than my other laptop today.
Yeah.
Normally, Heidi's internet really plays, and I must give the boys credit. Being as good as considering Harry was out of his comfort zone, looking at this new school today, this special school for him today.
How's that going?
A lot better than we expected. It took bribery to get him to go in there. We'll get a visit to the Golden Arches afterwards, but
the American Embassy has been done on it. There's one in every town.
We said if you go in there, he can get chicken nugget meal. So that's what I persuaded him. And when he was in there, actually, when we said, "What did you think about it?" he went like that.
Okay.
He went like,
better than that.
Harry, he didn't do that. He done that.
Yeah.
So, and when we went into what would be the dinner hall, he did actually walk around the room a couple of times on his own. So for Harry, that is an absolutely massive step.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So you think he's been homeschooled for nearly 4 years now. So the way this will work, it'll start off. He'll do, I think it was 1 until 2:30 every day for a couple of weeks, and then he'll start building it up. At the moment, he says it's that. Whether that means you'll actually go in or not is a completely different matter. Once, like half term.
It's not a definite no.
Yeah.
No, which is me and Heidi were very, very surprised, very, very proud of him.
Promising start.
Kynan's a little bit put out because he wanted to go there as well, but they don't allow siblings in the same school at the same time. So, because obviously, if there's a problem at home, it's likely to be brought into the school. So they've done it in the past and it hasn't worked out. But Harry's got until June or July. I think Harry's got until the end, till like the summer holidays, and then he'll transition into high school. And then they've said provided, because Kynan's got another one he's going to, but it's only 19 weeks. By the time that 19 weeks runs out, Harry would be getting ready to go into high school, and they said they will consider taking Kynan. So, and it is specifically a special school for people with ADHD and autism, and for those that have had to be home, because Harry's had to be homeschooled for nearly 4 years now, because his fear has been so bad. But we've had other schools that say they work. We'll see. That's all I can say. As we'll say, but initially we're very proud of him. We are very proud of him. So, I really don't get why my levels are so high.
It's too much ice cream.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Too many jelly babies.
Yeah, jelly babies.
No, I've not had no jelly babies all week. I've been good. I've been good all week. I've had no. Oh no, tell a lie.
You know that's strange the way that diabetes works. Because
Saturday, I had a little bit of cheesecake on Saturday.
I've been all the way up above 600 on my scale. I've been up above 600 and felt absolutely nothing. And the doctors, if I go in for a something or other, it's like they're like, "Oh my God, sit down! You can't be walking around." It's like I notice absolutely nothing. Now, if it gets low, I figure that I know that's happening.
Well, yeah,
hungry and shaking.
Low's supposedly worse, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
loads
always
Like low
worse
blood
the
pressure.
highs. Nah, they tell you can go into a diabetic coma with a high. And I'm like, I've
Yeah.
never felt even close.
I was told 21 on our scale will put you into a coma, and the highest I've registered mine was 37, and I felt absolutely fine.
Yep.
When I'm in single figures where I'm supposed to be, I feel awful. And I tend to faint when I'm in single figures,
Yeah,
but
but
that's what they want me.
that's a false hypo, isn't it? When you're in a single figures and you feel like shit, you're in a false hypo because
Yeah,
your
but
body
it's
seems to be high.
every single time I've been in single figures, I felt like shit and fainted. Which is why I keep saying their numbers are wrong for me, anyway.
Yeah, I suppose it's different for each
It's
person.
like any illness. It affects different people different
Yeah,
ways.
they're all like, oh, this is the standard. This is where you should be standard wise.
Mm.
And it's like, well, you can stick your standard where the sun don't shine because it makes me feel like crap.
600 is where my meter stops. Over 600, it just goes blank and a little dash. And that's 33.3 on your
Flatline.
scale.
Mm.
My one
I have
registered
that
36 the one time I did it, it was 36, 37. There's been a couple of times I know it's been higher than that, but it's just come up with ...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because that's because these things are only made to read to a certain level.
Yeah.
So
That's
I actually think when I had my hypo a few weeks ago, I was on, oh Christ, was it 2.9 I dropped down to, which is like
that's dangerous.
borderline ridiculously dangerous.
Yeah.
But I was like this and I was shaking, but because I was at home on my own and I was panicking like an idiot, I grabbed a sugar bowl, didn't I? And had about 4 or 5 spoonfuls of sugar, which of course sent me completely the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Oh, I very nearly ended up in hospital that day.
Least thing we have left off.
Yeah. Yeah.
3.9 is 70, and they say you shouldn't go below that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wake up a lot of times and I'll be at 2.9, stuff like that. I'll wake up and do my measurement and go, oh, okay, I'll go downstairs and have something, have an apple or something like that and watch what it does. But that'll raise it about 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we used to have when I worked on Shrewsbury Bypass, one of the clerk of works, young lad, he was diabetic and he'd have an argument with his boss in the morning and head to the far end of site, which, depending on which bit of site he was on, could be 12 mile away. And then he'd radio in, I'm feeling a bit faint. Can someone bring me? I've left my butties in the cabin. Can someone bring him out for me, please? Knowing full well that his boss was the only one who was in the cabin. Personally, I'd have told him to go and chew on a ear of corn. There's plenty of cornfields around there.
I must admit, because they've given me control over my insulin now. I'm a slow acting one. I'm still on 26, so it's still quite low. But my fast acting, if it's acting up, I can go slightly higher if I need to. And since I've had control over that, I've generally been within the green area. I think the highest I've been getting is about 11. So it's only just above what it's supposed to be. But why it's gone up like that today, I have no idea. I have no idea.
I have a theory.
Mm.
You mentioned lavender earlier. As a diabetic, you're not supposed to use lavender essential oil of any kind because it can affect your sugars.
I had a look at that, and it wasn't the lavender I used. I used the bottom next to it, which was just ordinary muscle soap.
Okay.
So, because I weight was so high, I thought, ooh, and Linda said that. I went and checked, and the lavender was a purple, but I used the blue one, which is just muscle soak. So
That's
it
not
isn't
so bad
that.
then. I don't know
Well-
what lavender actually does to your sugar levels, but apparently it messes with them. And the other one to be careful of is grapefruit, because it can put your numbers down through the floor.
I can't use
Way
grapefruit for
faster than
anything.
anything else.
I can't stand that stuff anyway. It's horrible stuff.
Oh, I love the stuff.
I
It
used
messes
to
with
like the
so many
juice.
of my medications. It's like, no.
I don't like the fruit, but some of the juices are okay. But nowadays, since becoming diabetic, I'm like, okay, I'm just not going to bother with that, because they tell you not to anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that
I
stuff's
got
horrible.
the heart stuff and the anti-rejection stuff and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
Grapefruit juice messes
Yeah.
with a lot of it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Right, so what are we going for next week? Because hopefully everything will be back to normal by then.
I'm not available next week. I'm in York,
Oh,
and
bless
I
you.
will be.
And on that note, I've got to check my calendar, because everything's
Mhm.
starting to come into the point where I haven't got a clue without checking my calendar.
New spring's only round the corner, isn't it? So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to start getting busier.
Yeah, I might make it, but maybe not. So
Let us know on the day. What we're going to go for anyway? If not, me and Joe can hold the fault anyway. Like, we've done it before, so
Yeah.
what are we going for? Joe usually picks some really good ones.
I'm just looking right now. We've done that. We've done that. We've done part of that.
Which one's that?
Doppelganger.
I think we've briefly mentioned that in previous
We
ones.
did
yeah.
briefly mention doppelgangers, and that's with the time slips and reality glitches and stuff.
Yeah, that was it. That was the one. Yeah. Because obviously the most
Um,
famous doppelganger story is Percy Shelley.
Yeah.
Just before he died, he claims to have seen his doppelganger walking around the house, doesn't he? So,
Well, that's
This is-
psychic abilities.
video.
This is a good one. If we could make it work, it'd be a good one. Real listener ghost stories and hauntings. Stories from other people. We invite them to write their stories or get online with us for just link the story and go. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Well, then they can either send the story in, or we can have them in the green room and pop them in to tell their story
Yeah.
themselves.
Exactly. That would be a really good one, but I don't know if we could get enough people to pop in and do that.
What happened to? We're supposed to. Wasn't Tracy supposed to be putting one on?
yeah, I did put in there about her.
The old
I've got-
salutation in Nottingham. Been in there a couple of times. It is a lovely, lovely pub, and yes,
Yeah, I'll put in the messages if you want to share your story, Tracy. I've sent you the link, so I know she's at the moment she's backwards and forwards with Adam because he's starting these T cells or whatever it is at the minute. So
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know. I know she has been on briefly because she said that she shared it.
Okay, there's stuff moving on the other side of my room, and as you can see, she's here. So I'm now wondering.
he doesn't
what-
seem particularly interested, though.
And that's what tells you it's not a moose. It's not got a heartbeat. He's not interested, is it?
Fae or fairy encounters in modern folklore.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Mhm.
That'd be
Like
a
I
very
say,
good one.
Another one we could do at some time is psychic abilities, ESP, and things like that.
Yeah, that'd be a really nice one.
Telekinesis.
It'd be good if we could get somebody on here that would be willing, is psychic or a medium, that'd be willing to do a reading.
Yeah.
But then you may
know
have
people that might do that. But they're all in the States.
It's been pre-set up or
Pick a
something.
card, any card.
One on the left. Go
Give me a
for it.
number. Give me a number.
Huh?
6.
Say stop when you want me to stop.
Stop.
It's usually what
Right.
people tell me.
Left hand or right hand?
Left.
Left. Give me a number.
6.
Six.
Yeah, sorry I've been in and out, but with this, I'll give the kids credit. They've been absolutely fantastic keeping the noise.
Wheel of Fortune.
Down at 23.
But it came out reversed. So you're in a dip of fortune at the moment. A time of things not being so fantastically good.
Well, he's not
But
feeling
it's a wheel and it's constantly turning. So you're never going to get stuck. But at the moment, it's in a dip. So it's some negative kickback at the moment.
Yes, that is very much what's going on at the moment.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I've gone then. Stop.
Left or right?
I'll go left as well. Be awkward.
Pick a number.
13. Why not? Unlucky for some.
I can't count that high.
I'm not from Wigan.
Oh, and the cat satins on top of them.
There you go, Carl. That's got some meaning.
You're going to get some pussy.
Right. I think it's that one, but let's
Mine are at home.
Sorry.
Brilliant, Deke, you're at home.
I knew you were going to say that, Ian. I must be psychic.
13.
I've got no filter sometimes.
You're just going to laugh your socks off at this one.
Or maybe not.
Reversed. So, shocks and surprises. There are some negative ones in it, but the negative surprises are minor inconveniences like, shit, I missed the bus, but there's another one in 10 minutes. And there are some positive surprises in there too. The key for that is anything you've got coming up in the next 3 weeks, expect the dates, times, or locations to be changed, rearranged, or messed up. So try not to have anything set in stone because you're just going to get disappointed.
The only thing I've got is Harry starting school, so
that's a good surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want a shot, Joe?
Sure, why not? What the heck?
Okay.
Why not? In for a penny, in for a pound.
Stop.
All in one. Pick a number.
7. It's a good round number without any roundness.
7. Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and he called for his fiddlers 3. It's the Leo card.
That's me. I'm a Leo anyway.
It's reversed. So you have somebody that you're part of a team with, whether it's sharing a roof, sharing a job, whatever, that's not pulling their weight. You need to dig them in the ribs and remind them that it's supposed to be a team effort, and team doesn't mean you pulling them down the hill on the sledge or up the hill even. This is the kind of person who is so lazy and procrastinated that if they get home from work 3 hours earlier before the rest of the housemates, they'll sit there till they get hungry, then order a takeaway for one. They wouldn't even think of making a meal for the whole household. So this person needs a dig in the ribs to go, hey, teamwork, pull your weight or GTFO.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I'm happy with how that experiment came out anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking that. When do we get ours?
I was looking into that, sorting it out. I should think about sorting it out. It's going to have to wait a minute because it was 28 quid each, but
yeah.
Sort that out. That's not a problem.
Yeah, no, I will sort it out. But I just wanted to experiment to see how it came, because I tried the experiment for the logo and put it in the chat last week or whenever it was, or week before, and everyone said they liked it. So I thought, I wonder what it looked like on the t-shirt. So and I'm pretty pleased with how it came out, actually.
Yeah.
You going through Vistaprint for that, or who are you going through?
Yeah, just Vistaprint. Yeah, that's probably why it was so expensive because they're not the cheapest in the world, are they? So
I think the t-shirts you get too. If you get a really nice t-shirt, you know,
in fairness, it feels like quite a good quality t-shirt. It does feel like quite a good quality
To
t-shirt.
be honest, I found Vistaprint was really good. I mean, obviously for business cards, but I found them really good for like waterproof posters and things like that. And anything to do with fabric, they seem to be good at. But the likes of I did get one of the torches once and had my logo put on it, and it was just rattling around in my pocket. And within 5 days, the logo had come off it.
Oh, that's not good.
So on the metalwork side of things, no, don't bother unless you're actually getting it engraved.
CJ was not so much now, but he was very big into Fortnite. So I think for his 9th birthday, I got him a rucksack with his name stitched onto it and like a Fortnite image on there. And I wasn't happy with the quality of that. That was quite poor. But I've got him. I think it was last year. I got him a autism awareness t-shirt I had made for him, and he still wears it now. So it's been washed multiple times. Still was bright as it was the day I gave it to him. So I'm happy with it.
Mate who does the light boxes and that, Solly makes. He does t-shirts and that. I've never had one off him. But I've thought about getting one off him, find out what sort of quality this stuff is.
I did, in fairness, before Christmas, I was going to get one of I think it was a Super Mario tissue box. I think it was that he was doing. It looked absolutely fantastic. I just didn't get the chance to get around to get it, unfortunately. I will do eventually, but I'm trying to clear all my bills and get my decorating.
He's picking up quite a bit of trade now. So like I say, he's light boxes.
Fantastic. Yeah. If
you want a light box doing, you send him a design and they can do it.
Yeah, I think it was quite cheap. I think it was only about 60 quid as well when I spoke to him before.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was him or if it was his missus I spoke to. I think it was his missus I spoke to.
Might have been his missus. Chris tends to work away from home with the job he's doing, so it's his missus who tends to do a lot of the stuff.
So if there's anyone that is watching on Facebook, go check them out as well. What are they called? Sully Makes, is it?
Sully Makes. SULLEY.
So go check that. Some of their stuff is absolutely brilliant. And like I said, I will get some. It's just a matter of. Oh, actually, I've got 2 birthdays coming up in the next couple of months. So, right. Well, have we settled on a actual thing or?
I think there's been a few good ideas, but I don't think we settled yet.
Right.
No,
okay.
Let's talk about it over the next few days.
Yeah. We'll settle on one. Right. So everyone, thank the bye Perry and Co as usual, and Joanne. Thanks for stopping by. Let's have a quick nose while we're on the. Oh, down to 22, so he's slowly coming down. It's slowly coming down. Where are we?
Yours?
16. 16 views in the last 2.5 hours.
Yes,
All right, we'll get up to 70 here pretty quick.
Last week we done 68 views in a week, and that's one of the highest we've had in a while. And that was for the regular hauntings that we done last week. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And the one that me and Linda done on our own ended on 32. So not brilliant, but it's more than we expected it to do. So I need to go and try and bring my levels down. So lots more water.
Yes.
It's been a great one. I'm saying sorry. I've had to keep coming in and out, but obviously, kids trying to have baths and the levels being so high and all that. It's just unfortunately one of them things. So, right, guys, everyone, thanks for tonight, and
See you later,
we shall see
folks.
you all next week.
Bye.
See you next week.
See ya.
See you guys.